All right. Well, welcome everyone. Rachel and I, we first want to thank you for taking the time out of your day and being open to learning about this exciting healing modality, something that is truly revolutionary in the field of regenerative science and age reversal. I absolutely love sharing about this phototherapy light patch because I have seen what it has done for me and the people that I have shared this patch with. So, for those of you that don't know me, I am Beth Blackmore. I'm a health and empowerment coach, having gone through my own health journey 6 years ago now, changing up my food choices, my lifestyle habits, resulting in a 60-pound weight loss. And this really marked the beginning of my conscious awakening. I left my government HR career, my pension behind, rejecting the government overreach, and really to pursue my passion in helping others find their own inner power and take control of their health. So, through this journey, I've embraced lifelong learning, unlearning, relearning, really being open to change. And so, most recently, Rachel had introduced me to the whole realm of quantum biology, circadian rhythm, really harnessing the power of light and how much our light environment impacts our overall health. So when my friend Diane Hunt, unfortunately she's not on the call today, but when she reached out about a light patch and how this could be another tool in my coaching toolkit, I invited Rachel on the call, knowing that she would be able to use her knowledge and understand the science behind it. So we were basically blown away by the information you're about to hear about the technology, the company Lifewave, and the life-changing testimonials. We pretty much signed up immediately. We placed our first order in, and we did what any good daughter would do. We patched our moms. So within days, my 77-year-old mom's knee pain diminished. Her physiotherapist noticed improved mobility, less inflammation, and wondered what changed. And she told her that her daughter put a light patch on her. So not only did her knee pain improve, she also started experiencing deeper sleep, more energy and stamina. She started walking and gardening and swimming regularly again. For me, the benefits have been life-changing as well. I started sleeping through the night, having vivid dreams, which is unheard of for me. I used to have this lower back compression pain and tension that I had dealt with for years, going to Cairo every couple of weeks. That eased up within a week of patching. My energy, my mental clarity have improved, which is helping me to keep up with everything on my plate. But what lights me up is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing and repairing and age reversing. And so this technology is literally transforming people's lives all over the world, not just from a health perspective, but with an incredible financial opportunity because Lifewave is the #1 direct sales company in the world right now. So more on that a little bit later. But I do want to have my friend and fellow co-host, Rachel, introduce herself before we dive into the formal part of the presentation.
Thank you, Beth. And again, I also want to thank everyone here for taking time out of their day because time is our most precious resource. And so I appreciate that very much. We both appreciate that. So for myself, as Beth said, I was a physician. I practiced as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years until 2021, when there was, again, the imposed mandate. So myself personally, for medical freedom of choice, walked away. I thought it was going to be temporary, and it ended up being a lot longer than I thought. In the meantime, I was doing a lot of research because I was questioning a lot of things that I had been taught because what was taking place was not in alignment with anything I had been taught in the past in my traditional training or how medicine was even practiced. And so I started unlearning a lot of things, relearning, and finding a lot of information that is not widely known or distributed. And along that journey, I discovered and came across a neurosurgeon out of the US, actually in Florida, Rebecca, Dr. Jack Cruz. And he basically crumbled the entire foundation of everything I had known, knowing that he came from the same background, the same education that I had come from. And he started sharing things which, not to say everything that I had learned was wrong, but it was very incomplete. And it made a big difference in terms of how the body works and how we actually can heal ourselves. And, one thing that I remember hearing which, and I don't think I've said this before, but I remember when I came across Joe Dispenza, for people who know him, and his story. And he used to say, the power, what he learned in chiropractic school was the power that made the body heals the body. And I also remember thinking, wait a second, I was not taught that in medical school. Um, but it is very true. The body knows how to heal itself. And I started diving into everything to do with light, water, magnetism. And at the center of that for us and our healing are the powerhouses you might have heard in our cells called mitochondria. And they do a lot more very important things, but they produce energy, and they are very much in tune with our light and EMF environment. And then I came across these patches. So I was all about light therapy, phototherapy, photobiomodulation, discovered these patches, how they harness not an outside source of light, but our inner light. And it was timely because my mom's health was declining at a much faster pace than what was happening before. And her doctors were talking about surgery. And as I very well know, my entire career was in the operating room. We can get anybody through, just about anybody through an operation. It's how people fare afterwards. And my mom was not a good candidate for recovering well. And so it was, as you will hear more about the science behind the patches, it was absolutely a no-brainer to get her started on them. And I will share when we get to testimonials what has happened so we can get on with the presentation. But it's been and is an incredible journey.
Amazing. Thank you, Rachel. So I'm going to share my screen and we can get into the formal part of the presentation. If you can just give me a thumbs up that you can see that. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So my question for you is, who is ready to learn how to activate your body's own healing with the power of the patch? And this isn't just any patch. What makes this patch so unique is that it supports your body's natural healing ability by using your own light. So, a little disclaimer here. Lifewave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. This is actually not a medical device that requires FDA approval. This patch is actually FDA recognized as a general wellness product. And so, everything that we'll be presenting, that we'll be discussing, will focus on general wellness, addressing symptoms and experiences rather than specific diseases. So, talking about symptoms and what you might be feeling. Are you feeling like you are lacking energy, struggling to keep active? Are you feeling older and frustrated that your mind, your body are not functioning like they once did? Does it feel like you've hit a wall and it's all downhill from here? Maybe you have some inflammation, some mobility issues, some pain that is slowing you down, preventing you from living your best life. Well, I want you to imagine what it would feel like if you felt more energized so that you're able to do all that you want to do in life. Imagine if you could have more mental clarity, think clearly, stay focused. Imagine if you could be more active, and not only that, but level up your physical game, build lean, strong muscles, and recover faster. What would it feel like if you could be in a more relaxed state, better sleep, waking up in the same position that you fell asleep in? And on top of all that, who doesn't want to age gracefully, have smoother, more youthful skin, regrow your hair, get your natural hair color back, maybe no longer requiring your reading glasses? Imagine if you could reverse the aging process. So, something you may not know, I certainly did not, is that as we age, the slower our bodies heal and repair. And it is because of the decrease in healthy stem cells. They actually go dormant. So, by the age of 30, healthy stem cells decrease by 60%. And then by 60 years old, those healthy stem cells decrease by a whopping 90%. And not only is the natural aging process contributing to our decline in health, but unfortunately, our modern living environment, right, with the constant exposures to toxins in the air, in the water, in the food, in the man-made synthetic radiation everywhere, this all leads to cellular dysfunction. And I mean, I have to admit that I had no idea what stem cells were about, 8, 9 months ago, but they are the baby cells that replace the old dying cells. They actually become your heart cells, your lung cells, your liver cells, your hair cells, and even your brain cells. And so, sure, we know that there is stem cell therapy, which is expensive, right? People need to travel to get it often. It's not readily available, it's invasive, it's risky, and it's actually only about 50% effective. And it's not systemic, it stays local to the injection site. So this is where stem cell regeneration becomes exciting and why the phototherapy patch is such a powerful option. So, activating healing with light or phototherapy is nothing new. We all know that the sun is a form of phototherapy, signaling our bodies to make vitamin D. But photobiomodulation is a type of light therapy that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells that boost energy production, promote healing. It reduces inflammation, improves blood flow, helps with tissue repair. But best of all, it's non invasive, it's accessible, affordable, and risk free. So now what if I told you there was a product, one that uses this very technology of photobiomodulation? So basically using your own body heat, right, which is a type of infrared light to increase a naturally occurring copper peptide. Well, that's exactly what the X39 patch does. So, using our body's own infrared light, it stimulates the production of our own, right? This is our human GHKCU copper peptide. This is known as the holy grail of age reversal. So, again, it is not a synthetic peptide, they are your own. And so this X39 patch, which happens to be the inventor David Schmidt's 39th invention, it bumps up the production of GHKCU, which is a naturally occurring universal copper peptide that goes to work all over the body. And so we know, thanks to Lauren Picard, he's a PhD and researcher that isolated it back in 1973. And so there's 50 years of research um, to back it up. And you can find all kinds of studies and research on PubMed.gov, which is this amazing online repository of scientific research. So, some of the incredible benefits of GHKCU copper peptide that we know, it stimulates blood vessel and nerve outgrowth. So, think regeneration. It boosts collagen and elastin. It also has multiple anti inflammatory, anti anxiety, anti pain, and even anti cancer properties. It's capable of resetting over 4,000 genes in our genome, essentially resetting and repairing about a third of your genome to a younger and healthier state. But here's the clincher: GHKCU reactivates dormant stem cells. So, how does this little patch increase GHKCU? Well, now that you understand the power of the peptide, let me introduce you to the power of this patch. So, Lifewave X39 is a small wearable phototherapy patch. You can see it here on my wrist. It's about the size of a quarter in Canada. Developed by David Schmidt, the founder of Lifewave. This is a patented product. It uses the process of photobiomodulation, using your body's own infrared heat to activate this crystallized lattice. And so this lattice structure, it's made up of organic materials. So think amino acids, sugars, water, oxygen, and salt. It acts like a mirror, reflecting specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling these biological, biochemical changes at the cellular level. So what's great about it is that these patches are latex free. They are non-transdermal. They do not contain any drugs or chemicals or stimulants. So they're safe to use without interfering with any medications. There are no contraindications because nothing is being absorbed into your skin. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Rachel to walk us through the incredible benefits of the X39.
Thank you, Beth. All right, so the X39, there are incredible benefits to it. And just to reiterate and emphasize this idea of light therapy, because I know it's something that is, it was new to me coming out of the traditional medical field. And although when we look at it now, after a couple of examples, you're going to realize that it makes sense, but we don't think about it. It's like the fish swimming in water that doesn't understand water. So we know that we go outside and, well, first of all, sunlight feels good. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but the sunlight hits our skin the ultraviolet B, and we make vitamin D. So it's not that the sun is giving us vitamin D, the sun is signaling to our body to synthesize, to produce and make vitamin D. The same with a tan. We go outside and the sun signals to special cells in our skin to make that pigment called melanin, so we get a tan. So there's a lot of, those are just two kind of simple, tangible examples that we have every day that light stimulates our body to actually produce and cause physiologic changes. So with this X39, what those changes do and help us with are, these are just a few of the examples. They help reduce inflammation and pain. And so inflammation, for those who don't know, is basically at the foundation of almost all chronic diseases. So imagine being able to reduce inflammation and being able to help get yourself on your way to reversing the symptoms and even the chronic diseases. And pain. Pain is a big one. Pain limits us from doing just about everything or anything in our lives that you can think of. Improving strength, stamina, and energy levels. This is, I mean, it's a big one. I was going to say it's a big one for everyone. It's a big one for my kids who, that's how they ended up wanting to use the patches, because a lot of Olympic athletes are wearing them because they improve strength, stamina, and energy levels. They improve muscle and bone density and mental clarity and reducing stress. And mental clarity is a big one, something that I struggled with after getting sick in 2020. And I know a lot of people, at least a lot of people in my friend group and even sort of my age group, who are struggling nowadays with brain fog, memory recall, articulation, just the ability to be able to just speak properly and find their words nowadays. And reducing stress. Stress is a really big one. It's a big one all around, and it always has been in our modern world. But in particular, in the last 5 years, I would say it's escalated beyond what we could even fathom. And so we know that there is a link between stress and how our body actually expresses disease, and it impacts us. So being able to reduce stress is also a really major factor in helping us with our health. Balancing hormones and easing anxiety, again, kind of goes along with the stress. Improving hair growth and skin appearance. And so this is a nice one for a lot of us. I would say women, also men. And we think about this to do with aesthetics, right? And this has to do with an increase in collagen. Collagen is extremely important. It's not just about hair, skin, and nails. It's actually the most abundant protein in the body. And it is about 70% of the protein in our body. And it forms the infrastructure and holds everything together. It is what is foundational to our fascia, which again is the infrastructure to our body. And our fascia is actually being made up of collagen, has these little, the way it is structured kind of forms a triple helix. You know, people may have heard about a double helix with our DNA. Well, collagen is a triple helix. And what's neat about that is the way it is formed, it actually creates a little water nanotubule in the middle of it. And water is extremely important. Again, we'll touch on that shortly, but that is how light travels in the body. And so that is how light communicates from one part of the body to another, from cell to cell. And that is exactly how these patches work, through light communication. So this is one of the reasons collagen and water are extremely important. The X39 also promotes cellular repair and wound healing. And cellular repair, while, you know, most of us think of that on, you know, we can't really necessarily envision what our cells are doing. However, all of the diseases, all of the labels and the symptoms that we have really boil down to cellular dysfunction. So if we can help with cellular repair, we really can help with everything that's going on in our body that's not working well. And the last one here is improving sleep quality. And this, again, is a really big one. I keep saying that with all of them, but I hear time and time again when I ask people, how are things going with the patches? And they'll say they don't necessarily notice too much except for an increase in energy and an increase in their sleep quality. And those are two of the most important aspects to healing, because our body requires energy for all of the functions that it does in our body from day to day, but then you actually need extra energy to help with the healing. And when it comes to sleep, if we were to, which, a lot of us in our modern world actually don't sleep too much and just kind of go. We've got this fast-paced life. It will catch up with us because sleep time and quality is when the repair takes place. So you wouldn't, drive your car around and never take it to the mechanic, because at some point you will just drive it into the ground. And that's similar to our body. We need the maintenance to happen. We need to repair and take the time to maintain it. And that happens during our sleep. Next slide, please. So as far as long-term results here with the X39, this is a really interesting one. And the first few days, over 4,000 genes begin to reset to a younger state. Now, this isn't necessarily something you're going to feel. I know lots of people will talk about maybe not necessarily feeling things, but what I would say to that is really, for me personally, I've over the years taken lots of supplements, and honestly, I have not felt one single thing from any supplement I've ever taken, but I continued to take them because I knew they were adding to what was going on in my body. So just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it isn't happening. So the studies show that over 4,000 genes begin to reset. And again, we have about 20,000 genes in our genome. So 4,000 is a pretty significant amount. Just to give context to that, a lot of people may have heard about red wine giving benefits, or there being benefits to drinking red wine. And that boils down to the chemical resveratrol that you may have heard about. And it's become such a big thing, to the point where it's even made into supplements. So you can go into your health food store and buy resveratrol in a bottle. Now, the big hype over resveratrol is that it resets 2 genes. So imagine now there's big hype over resetting 2 genes. Now this GHKCU can reset over 4,000 genes. That's no small feat there. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced, and we need communication between the left side and the right side of the brain for everything to work properly in the body. So that's really important. Within 3 months, collagen is increased. Again, I talked about collagen. Within 6 months, heart reverses in age. And that's what I'm going to talk about with my mom, because that was her issue. I love how David Schmidt says this is not anti-aging. This is age reversal. Next slide, please. So how to wear it. This, again, is one of my favorite things about this patch, because it is so simple and it doesn't take any time out of your day. And that's the biggest complaint that I hear from people when trying to help them with either going to do things, either going to the gym, cooking meals, going out to, if you're going to go to a naturopath, a chiropractor, massage, or anything. It takes time out of your day. These patches are, like Beth showed, and I've got one here, the size of like a quarter, or a loonie for us Canadians. And it's like a sticker. You take the backing off, you put it on your skin. This woman has put it behind her neck, and we can talk about that. That's one of the places where the research was done, which is why that is suggested there and as an acupressure point. But you stick it on your skin. Really, it can be anywhere on your body because it works systemically. You wear it for 12 hours during the day because it increases energy. And I have had people still wear it at night, despite saying you wear it during the day because it increases energy. You take it off 12 hours later, and you can either dispose of it. You can, what I do is I wrap it around my dog's collar, and then I put it on her the next day, because it still has about 4 to 6 hours of life left in it. Or you can put it in your plants. I don't know, Beth, if you've heard of anyone doing that yet. I'm still waiting to hear how that's worked out. And then you repeat the process the next day, and you continue until you reach your goals. Now, everyone's goals are different. The timing for wearing this, the minimum time, which is why we will talk later on about the buy-in, is 97% of people see an effect by 90 days. So if you try it, lots of people say, well, I just want to try it for a month. If you don't see any changes, it does not mean that it was not working. You really have to give it time. It takes time to heal, despite our conditioning in our society with pharmaceuticals and surgery. We think things happen quickly. Our body, and if we want to make things the way we are designed to heal, it takes time. So 3 months is a minimum for 97% of people to see an effect. But really, the recommendation is to wear it a month per decade that you've been alive on the planet. And now I hear more and more, because when people start to see results, they want to wear it longer and longer to see more, even more results from it. So it's really the goal that you have in mind. Personally, for me, I'm all about prevention. So my goal is not to end up with the decline and the discomfort and symptoms that come along with what's going on in our environment and the toxic load. So for me personally, I do things to prevent decline. Same thing with nutrition, exercise, all those kind of things. This patch is a tool for me to help with that. And I touched on hydration before with collagen. And so this ties into this because we need to make sure we are well hydrated. That is how the patch works, through light communication. So we need to make sure that we drink lots of water with electrolytes. Just water does not do it. You will pee most of that water out if you cannot hold it in your body. So it's extremely important to add electrolytes. That does not mean you have to go out and buy electrolyte powders. A good quality, unrefined type of salt has lots of minerals that holds water in the body. So anything that is unrefined is a good amount or a good type of salt. You want to make sure, because we need to have the substrates to form this copper peptide. So one of those substrates is copper. So we want to make sure that we have adequate copper in our diets. I go to diet and I recommend diet prior to any supplements. But diet, we're not getting as much copper in our diet nowadays as we used to. In the early 1900s, we got about 4 to 6 milligrams. But because of modern agricultural practices, we are lucky if we get about 1 milligram in our diet. So we have to focus on the foods. At the top of the list, we have everyone's favorite organ meats. I'm kidding, but lots of people like them. The next one being oysters, which are, again, a superfood all around. So many benefits to oysters, again, if you like them. Otherwise, seafood, types of shellfish. For those who don't eat any of those, avocados are rich in copper. Nuts, in particular, cashews, seeds, sunflower seeds, and probably everyone's favorite, a small square of dark chocolate. And doesn't have to be the whole bar. A small square of dark chocolate is enough copper for the day. Next slide, please. And so what to expect. And this is an interesting one. I alluded to earlier about how we have been conditioned in our society to expect and have results very quickly between pharmaceuticals and surgeries in terms of health. This is something that we really have to break away from the mold and understand that our body has its own wisdom and it knows what to do and when to heal things in what priority sequence. So you want to, I talked about earlier, things being the symptoms that we experience due to cellular dysfunction. So where we have cellular dysfunction, we will exhibit and express symptoms. So rather than talking about disease labels, because we can make up a whole bunch, we've got over 36,000 in the medical field. And really it boils down to where the cells are dysfunctional. So we talk about gut issues or brain issues or, any pain in your muscles or joints, those kind of things. But you want to write those down because you want to see the changes that take place. However, having said that, just because those are the things you are looking for does not mean there are other things going on in your body that your body says, no, we need to prioritize fixing this first. So your body will go to what is needed in priority sequence. You might not necessarily feel that happening. You might not necessarily notice because you might not have known that there were other things going in your body. So patience is really required because you could get, for example, my mom, one of her friends, he had headaches that he wanted to go away. He just started using the patches. 2 months later, the headaches were still kind of coming and going, but he was no longer wearing his reading glasses. So really the body prioritizes what it needs to do first. If you're tired, that means it's working. Again, I talked about earlier that energy is a big thing for all the functions to take place in our body. but as well, we need extra energy for healing. So being tired means your body's telling you to slow down, not use all of the energy for other things that, you might be powering through. I was guilty of that when I was younger and just powering through to exercise, even though I was sick. You really need to listen to your body, get the extra sleep, and allow that energy to focus on the healing. Deep breathing is also very important because the oxygen that we breathe in, the end point and the end result of where that oxygen goes is towards energy production. Next slide, please. So here we have some real results and real changes. On the left-hand side, this is someone that is on our team, and you can see the first picture on the left is July 27th of last year, where you can see some sparse hair there. And all the way to the right, January 18th of this year, you can see quite a bit more hair growth in there. So that's pretty significant. That's only about 6 months. And on the right-hand side here, we have what we term scoliosis, a curvature of the spine. And this is quite remarkable for 4 weeks, only 1 month. This woman was using the X39. Not everyone has results this quickly, just to add in there, but you can see that her spine has straightened out very significantly. That is with the X39. The Icewave, she was also using, that's just strictly for pain. So that's not helping with any of the regeneration, just to be clear. Next slide, please. And here we have on the left, this woman has what's called vitiligo. Really, it just means that there is a loss of pigment, a loss of melanin in some areas of her skin, and it is often associated with autoimmune diseases. But you can see on the right-hand side, she tried everything. I don't know the time frame of this, but nothing worked until she tried the X39. And while, it doesn't necessarily look tan, she has a nice uniform color to her skin. So she doesn't have the lack of pigment in certain areas. And that's what we want. We want a nice uniform pink color there. On the right-hand side, although this may not look like it, it is a knee. It is a surgical scar from a knee replacement. And this is only after 2 days of using the patches. And I can tell you from being in the operating room and seeing lots of scars and wounds, surgical wounds, this is very fast for wound healing. So here we have what's called a topography map, and it is a brain scan of a 77-year-old woman who was using the patch. You don't need to know all of the details about this, except to say that on the left-hand side, the first image there, that's her brain scanned. The red is signifying inflammation. So you can see there's red. She has not worn the patch yet. So the first one on the left, she has not worn the X39. There's lots of inflammation. The dark blue shows there is low activity, and there's not very much light blue or green, which is what we want, which is coherence. And that means there's
How did
communication.
it go? I just heard noise down here all afternoon and I didn't.
Yeah, Deegan, I was on the computer. God, it's just so good. I sold a 23K job today.
Oh,
If you can mute yourself. Oh, thank you. So the middle one, session 2, is only after 3 weeks of wearing the X39. You can see that there is no red, so there's no more inflammation there. And there's still some dark blue, which is low activity, but there's more of the light blue and green coming in, meaning there's more coherence coming in. Now on the right-hand side, the third one, you can see again, still no inflammation. This is 6 weeks after using the X39. No inflammation still. There's more brain activity and more green and light blue, which means more brain coherence, which means better communication, which allows for better health.
All right, thank you, Rachel. So at this point, we would love to call on some people that have had some testimonials with patching. And I believe, Rebecca, if you are able to unmute yourself and share your testimonial.
Okay, so I have a timeline, so I'm going to look at it because it's kind of interesting for me. So I'm about 3.5 months into patching. And I got into patching because I'm a functional medicine nurse. So I left Western medicine a long time ago and very healthy. I do all the things. I exercise, I keep my body, in as best shape as I can, because I don't want to be part of the Western medicine system. And then about 5 months ago, 4 months ago, to my surprise, I had some GI issues that were kind of a little alarming, surprising, and I was a cancer nurse for 16 years. So I kind of know the signs and symptoms, and I went to a Western doctor, and he was like, "You have to have a colonoscopy. It's life or death." I mean, it was really kind of trauma, and my symptoms were not that bad. And I knew I didn't want to have a colonoscopy, and I reached out to Rachel in another group, and sort of I respected her advice, and we talked a little bit, and then she said, "Why don't you try patches?" So I did, and I didn't have any. I wanted to help my GI. Didn't really think about them. I didn't know about the business. I didn't research them. Rachel said to try them. I said, okay, that was it. And for the first, it was funny. As soon as I put them on, I kind of felt something, whether that was psychological, I don't know. But it just, I don't know. It was just, but then I started feeling tired. Within like the first 1 to 2 months, really nothing happened. And I was tired, and I just thought, I'm going to be the only person in the world these don't work for. But I kept persevering with them. And I noticed that when I put them on the back of my neck, I have really bad TMJ, which is not what I use patches for, because I just learned to live with that. When I put them on the back of my neck, my jaw would ache more. So I reached out to Rachel, and I said, "What? Don't have them on your jaw as long, on your neck as long." So I would do 6 hours on my neck, and when it started aching, I would move it to my abdomen. But it wasn't a painful ache. It was more like things happening. It was a different sensation. And then everything changed for me about 2.5 weeks ago. Like I say, my GI issues resolved pretty much straight away, but I think they would have done regardless. But I have no GI for the last 4 months now anyway. But my TMJ is so bad that when I eat, I tend to surreptitiously hold my jaw because it clicks so loud and it's embarrassing. And French bread, forget it. I can't eat. And steak, I have to eat. I have to eat it with my front teeth. It's kind of bad. About a week or two ago, I'm eating my steak and just, minding my own business. And where are my hands? I'm not holding my jaw. And it was incredible. I don't have that clicking anymore. And about 3 weeks ago, I realized that actually I was able to leave the patch on the back of my neck for the full 12 hours without any ache. So I really do think it was, and it makes sense with the cartilage because I have very little cartilage. So around the 3 months we get that collagen. That would all make sense. So my TMJ is drastically improved. My nails, I'm having to trim them once a week. My eyebrows, I have been threading my eyebrows for many, many years. So I don't have to thread them for the last year. I haven't had to touch them until about 2 weeks ago. I gotta get these things sorted out. So my eyebrows are going back. And then another bonus, I was watching I was looking at my laptop and it was on my knee, so it was pretty close. And I have subtitles when I watch anything, and I had to kind of keep lifting my readers up. And I realized that my eyes are now not as bad. They were. So I was a plus 1.5 on readers. I'm now a plus 1.2. So long may that continue. And that's all been really within these last, I think once I hit like the 90-day mark, things really, and I didn't know about it. I just started patching because Rachel told me. And it wasn't until I started kind of really seeing about 2 weeks ago that I really started looking into it. I'm a researcher, so I love all that, and now I see it makes sense. So I'm a big advocate for these because the best thing you can do for your body is help it heal from within. And if all you have to do is stick a patch on, I mean that's a no-brainer, right? And I'm lazy. I don't want to have to do an awful lot. I want to just be able to patch and go. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Some big changes for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else happens.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing. Your consistency, your commitment has paid off. And yeah, I mean, I will share too that there are practitioners in the States, like namely Jen O'Sullivan,
Mm-hmm.
who in her practice as a board certified naturopathic doctor, she only actually has clients that use the patch because she knows how foundational it is to healing and repair work. Anyway, but I thank you so much for sharing your testimony today.
One thing I will say about Jen, actually, I was watching and Rachel mentioned this, and it's really important because I think around 2 weeks ago I watched a webinar with Jen, and she was explaining about how important hydration is. And even though I do drink a lot throughout the day, water, herbal teas, I wasn't mineralizing my water as often as I normally do. And once I started doing that, so I mean, it could be coincidence because it was around the 90-day mark. Once I started dropping my Celtic sea in the water more consistently, I've seen more changes.
Yeah, amazing.
Good stuff.
Hydration is super important. Yes. Thank
Yes.
you for that. Agreed. All right, Mary, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and share your powerful testimonial.
Oh, I was hitting the button and nothing was happening. There we go.
You're all good.
Yeah. So I am just continually amazed every day at being able to feel good in my body again. Because for about 2 years, 1 year especially, all of 2024, I was off work with burnout and like zero executive function. And just my feet were swelled up really big. It looked like I had congestive heart failure. And according to the doctors, nothing was wrong with me. They couldn't find any tests that anything was wrong, but obviously something was. I think I was just completely overwhelmed with stress from a lot of years of caregiving. But I put a patch on November 26th. I found them in my cupboard. They'd been sitting there for 2 years, and life changed. Within 12 hours, like 70% of my inflammation was gone. And I didn't even know what was going on because it was pretty amazing. Beth she put my pictures up. So the difference in my feet there is, so the first picture was before November 26th. And then I had about 10 patches to use over the month of December. And I had no idea how to use them really. I should have researched it more, but they still worked no matter that I didn't use them optimally. And once I started patching consistently in January, I'm getting my executive function back. I am back to work, not quite full time, but almost full time. I still have 2 kids to care for, so I do that in my off hours. So, I'm getting Rachel talked about brain fog clearing. Like that was one of my biggest things. I couldn't run my day or run a business, let alone do that. So I am getting my executive function back. My sleep is good. I've never really had a problem with that, but I do notice that I am dreaming more, which I always enjoy doing. Oh my goodness, there's so many things. Oh, my voice cleared. So I always had kind of a rasp and a strain to my voice. And within a couple of weeks, I noticed a big change in my voice and my vocal range has increased if I do sing, which is lots of fun. My sugar cravings went to 0. I still have a little sugar here and there, but I had no trouble giving up sugar to a greater degree. And about day 3, consistently patching, I didn't want coffee anymore. I still love coffee. I've had a couple for a treat, but I don't need coffee to wake up in the morning. And I was using it pretty much as a stimulant drug. That was the only way I could get into my day, is to get my cup of coffee to wake up. And I don't even think about that anymore. I don't need coffee, which I'm grateful for. Oh, level mood. That's a big one. So I'm unbothered. So I used to be like very irritable, and my kids would tell you it wasn't much fun, but I am very unbothered now, and I can have somewhat of a crisis to deal with, and I, it's okay. My stress level is, I would say my adaptability is back. My system is adaptable again. I'm not swayed by every little thing in life, and that's pretty big. So that's kind of the basics of everything I've noticed so far.
It's amazing. Thank you, Mary, for sharing.
Mhm.
You have so many powerful testimonials just in a short period of time, it seems. So
Mhm.
we're so grateful that you're on the call today sharing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rachel, just wondering if you would like to share an update on your mom and some of the other testimonials you've seen with people that you've patched.
Well, thank you. I have actually, Michelle is on the call. She's going to share her testimonial. Thank you,
Great.
Mary, but yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle.
So yeah, I'm also in the functional medicine field. I'm a medical doctor doing integrative medicine for almost a decade now, and so I'm sort of got onto the patches myself through Rachel telling me a whole bunch of fantastic stories and just looking to optimize my health. I've I'm working and I've got a toddler, so I'm sort of not sleeping well and those sorts of things and just trying to optimize energy. But the thing that I noticed right away within 24 to 48 hours was my sleep quality. Like even though I was waking multiple times a night with my son, I was able to turn my mind off right away and fall back asleep quickly. And then also just wake up feeling like so much more refreshed. And so then obviously with that came better energy. I also noticed very quickly within 2 days that I was way less anxious, just kind of took the edge off there. And that's, I'd say, has I'm 3 months in now, and it's still pretty good. My my dependence on coffee's come down. I think I probably drink it more than I should out of habit, and on those days I feel anxious. But I think I could probably do completely without it. And then yeah, I've noticed a significant shift in cognitive stuff like ability to concentrate, brain fog's gone. Just yeah, like more energy and being able to um, get to the end of my work day without, feeling so tired in my mind. And then yeah, and other interesting things I noticed was actually like kind of a photosensitivity kind of issue that I had, just bright lights. I don't have that anymore. I can drive better at night. Like I used to get that like just overwhelmed with any car lights, and that's gone away completely. And then yeah, just I had quite a few just like, ongoing food sensitivity type issues, histamine issues, and my gut's also gotten like 90% better without changing my diet at all. Um, yeah, and I'd say those are the big things that I can think of right now. I had another couple of people that I've suggested the patch to, where actually my mom, within 48 hours, she had significant osteoarthritis pain in her hands that went away in 48 hours, and it's gone. Her thyroid function's gotten better. She needs less hormone replacement in general, and much calmer. And then the other thing I can think of is a friend of mine that has endometriosis and a bunch of, just basically fertility stuff. And she wore the patch for a month and was ovulating normally after that. So yeah, just those are the big ones that kind of jump out. But yeah, great experience for me so far.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thanks for sharing. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Michelle, for coming on. I know you're busy and Jack's napping.
Yeah, good timing.
Okay, I'll try to be quick with my sharing about my mom. So my mom is in her 80s, 83, has multiple medical issues. Her heart was the biggest one that I was concerned about, heart failure. And for those who are not aware, when you have heart failure, you have trouble breathing. And I would go walking with my mom on a regular basis, and we'd walk at a pace that was painfully slow for me because I would get cold easily outside. So walking slow was not exactly ideal. And because she'd have to catch her breath every couple of steps. And knowing that would have to have patience, wanting to get her on the patches, knowing she was going to have to do it for, a minimum of 9 months for us to see the full reactivation of her stem cells, I was really shocked that within 2 weeks, she was walking significantly faster and talking to me at the same time. So that requires even more energy and effort. So that was a really big deal. Within 3 weeks, she came over to my house with some abnormal lab work, which again, her thyroid was the last thing on the list that I was concerned about because of all the other things. But I told her to go to her doctor because you don't treat your own family. And I had a feeling that he was going to lower her thyroid medication, which he has done and has again since done that. Her mood is much better. She just looks a lot more alive and vibrant, which she's actually getting feedback from her friends on that. And she's had lots of issues with spider veins, varicose veins, which are diminishing significantly on her skin, especially the spider vein. She's had lots of splotchy skin, like raised skin areas on her body that are now probably about 80% gone. And they were like big areas on her body, very visible. So she's really excited about that as well. Her hair is growing a lot more. It's still white, but she's got a lot more hair, which actually looks great on her. She's starting to lose weight, like fat weight, which for me to notice is significant because she would go up and down for decades and ask me if I'd noticed 10 pounds, and I didn't notice because it just didn't notice. But now I'm actually noticing that. So those are things with her. With myself, I didn't necessarily feel like I had any big issues because I try to stay as healthy as possible. But I know that we can live with up to 70% dysfunctional mitochondria and not notice it. So there's always something to work on our health. Never mind that we're bombarded by toxic stuff in our environment and our food, air, water, and everything. So there's always something to work on. But my sleep has significantly improved the depth and quality of sleep because I used to wake up, for those of us who are moms, right? You wake up once you're a mom, you wake up with like a pin dropping, and that has stayed with me forever. But now my kids come home, my daughter comes home, and I haven't heard her because I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and I panic that I haven't heard her come in the house. And I go to my phone outside my room and I'm like, where are you? And she's like, I'm in my room. And normally I hear every little thing. And so that's huge for me. Other little things like my hair, I just got my hair cut and my hair was down, like it was down to here. And it never grows kind of past this level. And I saw our friend Brittany actually cuts my hair. And I thought it had been a year since I cut my hair because I just wasn't paying attention. She went and looked up in the calendar and it was actually the end of September. So the end of September, like it grew really fast. My nails are much harder now as well. And this is a kind of, maybe people might think this is too much information, but when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to swim a lot, got athlete's foot that went into my toenails, tried for years, oral antifungals, topical antifungals, nothing worked. So I just cut them really short so that they were, as minimally visible as possible because they were not very nice looking. And I just lived with them. Didn't even think about them afterwards. And it was only a few weeks ago that I was putting my sock on, my nail got caught. So I went to take it off because I was going to cut, the part that got caught. And I started looking at my nails and they're about 60% back to normal. So, the patches work. Even if we don't feel them, we don't notice them, we're not paying attention to things that we just decide that we're going to live with because we don't have a choice. The patches are working. You know, I've got lots of stories, but I want to get on with the presentation. We can go into more afterwards, but yeah.
That's great, Rachel. Thank you for that. Okay, so I am going to share my screen again, and I really want to present to you the miracle man behind this miracle patch. And so, I mean, you know, Rachel and I love sharing about the heart of Lifewave, and that is the founder, the inventor of the product, David Schmidt. He's been an inventor his whole life. He is the CEO of this 20-year-old company. He started actually working with the US government and was actually part of the Navy SEAL survival program, where he was creating something that could keep the SEALs alert, mentally focused on these, 36-hour missions. And that's where the first patch of Lifewave was actually born. That was his first patent, the energy enhancers. Then David found himself at Stanford University, putting those original patches on the US Olympic women's swim team, and they ended up having tremendous success. Set their own personal records. The anti-doping agency actually came in to test them to see if they were using kind of any illicit illegal drugs, and they were not. They were just using this energy enhancer patch. So, I mean, that was well over 20 years ago. But then in 2008, David realized that the future of medicine was in stem cells. And that's when he began to figure out a way that he could leverage the natural stem cells that are inside the human body. So then after 10 years of research, $4.5 million later, by 2020, he had received a 20-year patent on the X39. And so this company went from this steady state $20 million company to closing out 2024 with over 600 million. So that is a 3,000% growth rate in 3 years. So for those of you that like to do your own research, there is a 22-page patent, but this one paragraph really says it all. Embodiments as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, energy improvements, elevation of antioxidants. So the patent is on the structure, meaning that crystal lattice that I was talking about. So the material in the patch, where the patch reflects the specific frequencies of light back into the body. So there are clinical studies that show the significant increase in the production of copper peptide GHKCU measured through the blood samples, urine analysis, other lab analysis. And so what you have to know is this is a novel product. So no one else has this. And in order to get this patent, you have to prove that it works. You can check out this patent. You can check out the studies, the clinical studies, powerful testimonials at this great website, thisisitinfo.com. That's in the bottom right corner of the slide here. So again, a great website with videos explaining the technology. David Schmidt is being interviewed, doctors being interviewed, and again, really powerful testimonials. So it's important to remember that the patch and this company go far beyond the surface. So maybe that means for you, right, that you end up feeling a whole heck of a lot better about yourself. You have an increased confidence because you're finally getting to the root and your body is healing. Maybe it's returning to a job that you had to quit because of the pain you were in. Maybe it's even being able to not only return to an active lifestyle, but end up leveling up your physical game, adding muscle gains, setting new goals, or maybe it's having some financial freedom, as this company is the #1 momentum company in the industry of direct sales right now. So simply sharing with others can allow you to live a life with more ease. So whether, you're getting your patches paid for, covering an extra bill, or, living abundantly, this is all available to you. This is all possible with the power of the patch. So let me share with you how you can start. So Lifewave offers 3 simple enrollment options. These prices are all in US dollars for a month's worth of patches. We call it a sleeve. It's like an envelope with 30 patches in it. So you can enroll as a retail customer, paying retail price. We often see practitioners in the States setting themselves up like this, offering this to their patients. However, if you'd like to benefit from the wholesale pricing of $99 US, and who wouldn't, you have 2 additional options. So you can sign up as a preferred customer or as a brand partner. So we typically like to recommend people coming in as a brand partner, because not only do you unlock the wholesale pricing, but you also secure a spot on this incredible team. You can leverage the amazing momentum that this company is experiencing by building a business without additional cost, right? There's no overhead. It's just the cost of your patches. And so what we often see is that people begin to experience the success with the patches, the products. They end up sharing it naturally with others, and they end up building a business, and sometimes even on a full-time basis. And I mean, we also have many people on our team, including Rachel and I, that saw the opportunity right away and are building successful businesses. So signing up as a brand partner, there's actually no additional investment or commitment. As I mentioned, there is no pressure to ever share or sell or build a business. There are several enrollment kits available to you to get you started. And so the more that you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. That way you can start sharing it out with family and friends in your life, your aging parents. Loan them out to people as they wait for their orders. It's always great to have extra sleeves on hand. And obviously you're setting yourself up for success right out of the gate. So it's exciting not only where this company is going, but our team. The This Is It team is the #1 team in the whole company. It has incredible leadership and supports and training in place to grow your business. So no prior experience or training in sales or network marketing required. Really just a passion to help people with the freedom model, health freedom, financial freedom, time freedom. And you can rest assured that we have no competition. So there's no other company that comes close to offering what this product does. There's nothing else like it on the market. And so not only does it address people's health goals, but also their financial goals with a generous compensation plan. So I do encourage you to reach out to the person who invited you on this call. They'll guide you through the ordering process, set you up with the best package and pricing available, and walk you through the incredible opportunity at Lifewave. So I would love to open it up for questions, but I first want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to learn about this unconventional healing modality. And it would be super exciting to see you on the team soon. But with that, I just want to open it up. I'm just going to check the chat. I don't think there's anything that I missed in there. But feel free to, put your hand up or unmute yourself and ask us questions. Ask away. Hi, Dana.
Yeah. Oops, sorry, I forgot to put my hand up.
Oh,
Do you want
sorry,
me to
go
do
ahead,
that?
Marilyn. It's a little noisy.
Oh, okay. I forgot to put my hand up. But anyway, yeah,
That's
my
okay.
question was, I was asked by others, and I'm just learning this. So all the other patches, like I'm just only know about the X39, but she wanted to know if the other patches, if you treat it the same way, like do you go 12 hours on, 12 hours off, or do your body not need the same 12 hours off like we do the X39?
Yeah, it depends on the patch, Marilyn. So there are 10 other phototherapy patches. And it depends. So, I mean, there's a sleep patch. Obviously, you wear that at night, and yes, you can wear it for 12 hours, take it off in the morning. There is also an ice wave patch. So these patches are all phototherapy patches, meaning that they're all using your own infrared light, your own heat to activate them, but they all deliver different changes to the body. So maybe they're upregulating or increasing other peptides in the body. So for instance, the ice wave, which is a pain patch, you can actually wear that patch for 24 hours. And so you can wear that overnight. There are other patches you can wear overnight as well, but typically you're wearing them for 12 hours. I don't think there's any other ones. Are there, Rachel, are there other ones that you can wear for 24 hours? I'm trying to remember. Other than ice
So the
wave.
pain one you can wear 24 hours.
Yes.
But do you need to give yourself a break after that, or is that one fine? Like if they need it, they need it.
That's a good question.
Well, it's meant to be, in a sense, short term. That's why you can wear it for the 24 hours. Like Whereas the X39, for example, you're wearing for months on end. So you don't want to have that stimulus not respond anymore. But, you know, hopefully you're not wearing the ice wave for months on end, right? Like it's to kind of get you
True.
whatever kind
True.
of.
They were just saying with fibromyalgia or something like that. Maybe they gets rid of the pain right away and they don't have to continue as much. Maybe, I don't know.
Right. Right. And then I don't know, again, depending on what you'd use, like for myself personally, I don't use glutathione all the time. Like if I'm sick, then I might stick a patch on for 24 hours or longer.
Okay, so the
But I'm
24
not
hours is
using-
kind of the max and then let it rest a bit if you were needing more then, eh?
Yeah, I mean, there are people, I have heard other people talk about instead of 12 hours on, 12 hours off, doing 24 hours on and then 24 hours off. But apparently, because the research was done with the 12 hours on, 12 hours off, it doesn't work as effectively if it's 24 and 24. So that's really kind of just a short term
Okay.
kind of method if you're gonna do that.
Okay, anything with that or Eon patch? Was there anything with that? I'd been asked of that because of the inflammation. Should a person stay with the 12-12 on that one?
Oh, I would think so because that one's going to be a long term. That one you're going to use for
Right.
the inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And actually, the Eon, just to let you know, you can wear that one at night as well. Overnight.
Okay, okay.
Dana, if you want to unmute.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I had to put the headset on. It's a little noisy here now. I'm on day 3 with the X39, and I noticed the first 2 days I had a lot of energy. The first night I slept great. A bit of a funny story. I usually go to bed with my pajamas on, but I toss and turn so much they end up coming off in the middle of the night. Sometimes I don't even know how it happens, but I woke up the next morning and I still had them on. So I was like, oh, I guess I had a good sleep last night. Um, Not as great. And today I'm feeling a little bit tired, but like you guys mentioned, it's probably because there's healing going on. So normally I would feel stressed, like I need to get more done, but I'm really not feeling that today. So no anxiety, no stress, just a little tired, but understanding that the healing's going on. So I have a couple questions. One question is, how long do the patches last in the sleeves, like if they're not being used?
There's actually an expiry date, I think, on each of the patches. Like I looked at my sleeve and it was like 2026. So there's usually an expiry date on the bottom if you haven't ripped that part off, because sometimes it's kind of when you
Okay.
unseal that, sometimes the expiry date comes off. So typically it's like a year or two out if they're not being used. Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. And a question for Rachel. I saw your Instagram post the other day about your water, that it's filtered and structured and vortexed and stuff. And I'm big into the water too. So I structure my water with the iTerracare Hertz frequency one. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. Does that help with hydration as well, the structuring of the water?
Okay, I just want to, before getting to that one, I just want to kind of on the heels of what you're talking about with the expiry date of the patches. So I have heard David Schmidt say, though, if you keep the patches in a cool place, which is how they're supposed to be stored, if they're not heat activated, they technically are not going to expire. Even though there's an expiry date on them, I think you have to put an expiry date on anything. But if they're not heat activated, then really they should not be expiring. So I just wanted to.
I can attest to the first patches I used were like a year and a half expired in my cupboard and they worked just fine.
Okay, amazing. I appreciate listening or you sharing that, Mary. I picked up on that. So, yeah, I just figure it's kind of like any kind of supplement or vitamins. It's best to keep them sort of like in a cool, dark place. So as long as they're stored that way. Not that I'm planning on them lasting, but just, in case these questions come up, it's good to have the answers for those. So thank you.
Awesome. And interesting that you say that, because when I worked in the operating room, all of the medications that had an expiry date that we would get rid of because of the expiry date, they all got sent to the third world countries. So they didn't, you know what I mean? Like that's what we do. Anyways,
Yeah.
go back to the water part. Yeah, so definitely it helps. So the water, I mean, I could talk on this for hours too, but the water in the body is actually very differently structured than we think, and then water that, for example, that we drink. So drinking structured water helps with the formation of the type of water that we have, which is a different phase of, it's actually a fourth phase of water. We understand water is three phases. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I love Veda Austin's work and Gerald Pollack and
Okay.
follow Alex Zach too. He talks a lot about that. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, anything that is going to help with how water is actually designed to, like how it's designed for us to take it in, will help with keeping the water in the form that it's supposed to be. And that is actually how we stay hydrated. Right. But there's a lot of things that dehydrate us that most people are not aware of, and you're probably familiar with, but all of the technology, right, is very dehydrating. So even if people are drinking enough water, like that is actually not the primary way that we stay hydrated. It's actually by our mitochondria making our own water. That is the way we truly are cellularly hydrated. Again, but I don't want to go into too much detail here to sort of confuse anybody or get people overwhelmed with information.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. So I have a really nice sea salt or a Himalayan salt that I use. And how much do you think I would need of that during the day? Like, would it be a good idea just to put a little bit in my water? Or, I often will use it on my food every day. I'll have a couple boiled eggs and I'll put a bit on my eggs. Like, do you think that's enough salt, or should I be putting a bit in my water?
I would say that most of us probably don't get enough salt in our diet, unless someone's like salts absolutely everything. But I would put it in the water because you want to kind of continually replenish. Like, just drinking 2 liters of water at the beginning of the day, that's not going to keep you hydrated. Like, you want sort of a steady state of hydration. However much you put in is kind of however much you can tolerate, right? Like my son used to grab my water thinking it was just water, and then he would like spit it out because it's like full of salt. Now he's gotten used to it because he knows I try to take the Gatorade. He knows the Gatorade's garbage, all those kind of drinks. But yeah, I mean, if you put it on all your food, I just feel like if you're continually replenishing the electrolytes, and I just heard David Schmidt talking the other day. It was actually an older talk, I think, but he was talking about the meridians, the energy meridians in the body, and how they are made up of collagen, actually quite a bit smaller collagen fibrils, right, than what we think of as collagen, say in the fascia. And those collagen fibrils are actually surrounded by electrolytes. So we really, really need the electrolytes for that communication to take place. So I would just say to have a little bit in your water on a regular basis.
Okay, great. Yeah, that totally makes sense. That to have it like more spaced out through the day instead of just having it, once in the morning and in the evening. Like every time I have a glass of water, I'll just throw a little bit in there. So, okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Any other questions at all?
I have a question. You and Rachel have them on your wrists. Are they X39s?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Mine,
this,
the one I have on my wrist is actually, I think the carnosine one.
okay. So what's the difference? Because I've been alternating mine between neck and abdomen, the X39, that's all I do. So what's the benefit to having the X39s in my, I know the research was just on those two places, but is there other benefits to putting them somewhere else?
The benefit for me is just to advertise it. So it's just,
Well, it's very, very good because
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do. So so you're still getting the benefit of it,
for
even if
sure.
it's
Yeah,
okay, visible.
that's right.
Why
It's-
don't you just put it on your abdomen and walk around showing your tummy there?
Maybe in the summer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I had one person ask me if it was a continuous glucose monitor because they kind of look at the discs.
Right.
Yeah.
Too funny.
And some people put them on like pain points. So if you have, I mean, there's all sorts of different protocols, but really like you stick it on your body. Some people, you know, if it's on if you have a point of pain, sometimes people just feel like if it's in close proximity, or if you've got a wound, if it's in close proximity, I don't know, but I think people feel like it might work better.
I'll tell you what I did with my X39s. Once I'd taken them off at night on my nightstand, and then the next day, because I started getting lower back pain, which I've never had before, and I really believe it's like toxin pushed out. I just because I've never had it before and it's gone now. What I do is I put the old patch on the bottom where my pain was, and then I put my new patch wherever. And I mean, it was noticeably sore once I took that patch off, and there was a bit of swelling as well. I probably banged myself, but yeah, and then I have put them in my plants because I heard you mention that before, but I haven't noticed any difference.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions at all? Feel free, unmute yourself and ask away. All righty. Well, I mean, Rachel and I are here. And again, I encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you on the call. You can ask them questions, get set up for success in terms of the business, in terms of trying out the patches yourself. This YouTube video, this recording will be shared on our YouTube channel. So Rachel has a YouTube channel, I have a YouTube channel, so it'll be shared on social media. And you can check it out there, share it out there. But we're super excited, very, very honored that you took the time, an hour and a half out of your day to learn about this super exciting, innovative technology that, that Rachel and I really, it did fall into our laps, in May. And it's taken off because it's so exciting about really with the powerful testimonials that we've seen with people in our lives that we've patched. So this is another amazing tool in our toolkit that we love sharing out. So it's super exciting.
Thank you all for joining us.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank